Good evening. I am here after a few hours of sleep. Ironically, I saw the clip of a lady named Ashley and a man named Kirsten from the Ready of Love show. I'm here to talk about it because I've seen a couple of talk pieces on the content from men's perspective of women playing scarcity tactics and this man being confident. Okay, so I went to go do some digging to find out really what was going on there, because you can't really determine off a 30-second clip what's really going on here. And I found out what was going on. Of course, this is made for TV, so drama ensues, and it can't always be considered reality TV. But from a raw perspective, I found an interview with the lady who was explaining why she did this. And when I saw just the 30-second clip, and I saw men going into great detail of why women are manipulative, and she ruined the relationship, and she's insecure, things of that nature. And then when I was looking in the comments, because I actually found a longer clip of it, and their dating history or whatever, and women in the comments, she's insecure, she shouldn't have brought this up, she shouldn't have brought that up when she went on the date, which I can kind of agree with, because what she was doing on the actual date was like comparing herself to another person that he went on a date with. But when she was in the interview and she was speaking on it, what she said was that his actions weren't aligning with what he was saying. He was speaking to others about her and saying how he felt about her. But when she went to go ask him how he felt about her, she could not get the energy that he was displaying to other people. He was being nonchalant. And she couldn't. So one of the things, because I'm a person who has anxious attachment style, I have more of a disorganized attachment style, but disorganized is where you shift between dismissive and anxious. I speak more on the anxious side because I display more anxious than detached and dismissive. But it really kind of just depends on the person, like how long I've known the person. If I haven't known the person a long time, I switch in between. Whereas when I know the person a really long time, I start to go more into the anxious type. I understand these things affect relationships, but again, as I've stated, multiple times, attachment styles, though you can do things on your own to try to work through it, what's required is a stable relationship. It's hard to find that because those two things draw in a certain type of person. And what I can say about it is anxious attachment has nothing to do with how secure a person is or how confident a person is, nor does nonchalant or dismissive attachment. And that is actually what you witness. You witness an anxious attached person trying to deal with a dismissive attached individual. He had feelings for her, but he would not express those feelings. That's not confidence. And a lot of people are watching this and applauding the man for being confident, when in fact she is expressing that he was not confident in expressing his feelings to her. And so, in anxious attachment style fashion, she went to try to find a way to bring that out of him. to which he could not do anything about it because he's not actually confident. And in fact, he's the one that sabotaged the relationship far before she did. His mode of operation, and it doesn't mean that he can't find someone else that will be more agreeable with his attachment style and eventually bring that out of him. But what dismissive attachment does is it is fearful of being left and being vulnerable. And so since he essentially fulfilled his own fear, she's going to leave me if I tell her how I feel. This is what's going on likely in his mind. Now, I don't know these people, and again, this is made for TV. So 555. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. But just based off her raw interview, it could have possibly been real. Dismissive attachment is fearful of being vulnerable, in fear of being left, in the same way that anxious attachment is anxious because they're fearful of being left. And essentially, those two things don't mix, and they find different ways to fulfill that fear. I've done it. I've recently done it, that's the irony behind it, that her name is Ashley. I've recently done the same thing. I've actually done it several times with a dismissive individual. They don't chase you. They do not care. And everybody says it's confidence when in fact it's just them fulfilling, well, I knew she was going to leave. But the only reason she's leaving is because you're not expressing how you feel. You're not being vulnerable. You're not returning the vulnerability within the relationship. And that can be very frustrating for people, just in the same way that it can be very frustrating to have to constantly reassure someone else that you're not going to leave. So I do understand both sides of that coin, but it's still the same coin, and it's still being perceived the wrong way. And I will say also, in my experience with, dismissive attachment, I have seen myself behave in a manipulative way, but not intentionally. It kind of just happens. What can I do to get this person to open up? And so a lot of people say, well, just be nonchalant back. Just play the game and treat them how they treat you. Match energy. They'll come to you, and unfortunately, I'm just not one of those people that could do that. I've tried. I have tried. I'm just not that, especially if I feel strongly about the individual. It's like this little shit goes off in my head because it's a wiring issue. I've tried. It just doesn't work. And then people call it desperation, when it's not even that. So that's what I wanted to say about that. That man didn't display confidence. That man was displaying signs of dismissive attachment. He was speaking highly of the woman behind her back, which is great. You do want, it's good that he was able to tell someone, but the most important person you need to tell is the person you're engaging with. And he was unable to do that, causing her to react. It's not disrespect per se. But it could make someone feel insecure. A lot of the times people say, well, that's your responsibility to feel secure. You need to go to a therapist. And I'm someone who's in therapy all the time. Maybe I didn't go for 2 years, but oftentimes if I can get there, I'll be there. And I do all the things that is directed. I self-care. I have hobbies. I don't have a lot of friends, but I have people I speak to. I have stuff that I do outside, and then of course I have a child, so my focus is oftentimes on the right things. It's that longing to belong, desire. Unfortunately, it's a low vibrational energy. But eventually we'll all find where we belong. So, maybe I don't belong there. Maybe she didn't belong there. The right man will express themselves the way they're supposed to express. And they will never leave you wondering where you stand. They won't do that. And some people say that, like, nonchalant and dismissive, they're that way because they're not actually that into you. But I beg to differ. I beg to differ. It's just, I see it completely differently. It could be, for some, it could be a level of gray rocking. It kind of just depends. It's case by case. Nonchalant people, sometimes they do that in order to push you away because they aren't actually interested and they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Then you got the nonchalant people who are truly dismissive attached and they just aren't able to be vulnerable due to their own issues. But what I would say here is that what I watched more than just that 30-second clip, and I can say that he likely, if it wasn't made for TV and the drama wasn't made for TV, he was experiencing dismissive attachment based off of what she said. But there's two sides, and I haven't seen an interview in regards to him and how he actually felt. So, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but that's one of those things where I find that men are applauding him for his confidence, but based off of what I'm seeing, it's not confidence, it's dismissive. And this is how you guys continue to lead each other into divide, because now when women do this, you're going to call them manipulative and not actually take into account your own behavior in the situation. Nope, she was manipulating me, when in fact if I just would have told her I liked her, she would have never done it in the first place. Actions speak louder than words, but sometimes you need your actions and your words to align. And I'm even guilty of it as well, so no shade to anyone. I just know when I did it, it was for the same exact fucking reason. When I saw it, I could definitely relate, but I already knew what I experienced. So to see her do that was like, to see her in her interview and speak on it was definitely not only confirmation but validation of what I've experienced, and knowing that I wasn't trying to manipulate. It comes off as manipulation, of course, because it is some type of scarcity tactic, but it's more of a just trying to get that person to show themselves when you've been so vulnerable already, and you've shown your interest, and you've shown that you're down, and you get nothing. No, I'm not going to show that because I'm confident. No, that's not what's happening here. That's not what's happening. So let's not glorify this man Because what's happened here is now there's yet another roadblock in men and women coming together, because we're still not acknowledging that men have this attachment issue. Nope, it's all the woman. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I have to say.